time for another round of brandy. Candid conversations over cocktails about all things brand with your hosts, Reilly Newman and Scott Saunders, the brand developers behind Motif Brands.
'Tis the season for debt.
It is.
It is in the air.
Well, not quite yet, because I mean, we just I think it was Sunday, just passed. It was the fall season, right?
I think the first day.
First day of fall. Pumpkin spice latte is in Starbucks.
Oh, yeah.
And
everywhere.
I think the office, we just picked up a Starbucks holiday blend K-Cups
Yes.
from Costco. So, you know, the holidays are starting to roll out yet, are rolling out, but we're getting our minds to fall and some of the great traditions of fall. You know, it's like you got Halloween coming up, you got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, but there's even a holiday stuck in between there that most people actually get more excited about than Thanksgiving, and that's Black Friday.
Buying things, which is
Buying up. We're so thankful for all that we have, but now we need a lot more.
I love Black Fridays. People go, oh, I'll go shopping, I'll get Christmas presents early and save some money. But then they end up buying for themselves.
That's BS. It's about buying for yourself. It's treating yourself, because you always end up looking at Black Friday sales and taking advantage of something for yourself.
Yep. It's
following the day of being thankful and grateful and all these things. So it's and by the way, what the name Black Friday, right? The origins in general. I know there might have been an initial spurk of when that came about, but the main commercialized version of Black Friday that we've known, you did a little research on that, right?
Yeah, well, as Americans, commerce and retailers are in our DNA, consumption and commercialism. So actually Black Friday in the 80s, the retailers had used it a little before, but in the 80s it really started to catch on, where Black Friday, the term Black Friday, is kind of an inside lingo for the retailers, where it was for them to go from the red, in debt, negative, to the black. And by sacrificing, margin and just unloading inventory, moving it, they not only boost inventory kind of liquidity, where they're able to go, okay, open up, the shelves for new products coming in for the new year and start rolling out new things, or even for Christmas. It helps with their turnover ratio. It helps with all these things, or even just their cash flow and their balance sheet, where instead of having all this inventory sitting on the balance sheet, now they have actually cash sitting there, and it looks good. And this is all like, okay, why would they do that though? Why does that matter? Well, because then they have to report to shareholders and do all these little gymnastics. the horse and pony show. That's what it's called, right? Horse and pony show.
Dog and pony.
Dog and pony. Horse and pony. It's like the same thing.
The pony is the horse, so it's a dog and pony.
Dog and pony show for shareholders, and that comes around January. They start doing these things, so they need to show these things. So Black Friday is all about retailers going from negative, the red, to the black. And you, my listener, are the ones who help them do that by going out and buying things and stimulating the economy.
So many brands will get out there and they're trying to be luxury, they're trying to be, high end and everything, and then they have like 50% off sales and stuff. And I've always like it, to me, it's been very transparent. Whenever a company like slashes prices immensely, it really, to me, shows me that how much of markup there is, like how much profit. Like if they can still make a profit by selling it to me occasionally, and this isn't like necessarily on Black Friday, but just when they have like a buy one, get one off.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that is essentially, or buy one, get one free. That's essentially a 50% off. And that means that, you're doing that, but you're still going to be making a profit. Otherwise,
right.
if you were literally selling it to me less than the cost of goods, then I'm the one walking away with the profit. You aren't.
Right.
So that, to me, it's always revealing. It's almost like the quick, like, look behind the curtain, look at a brand and its products is and that's reflected in how low your price is going to go, the normal regular price, right?
Yeah. And that's always it is a red flag, because like it or not, price is a huge signaling factor. It's an indicator of value. And for some reason, humans, when we see something that has a lot of zeros at the end, we go, wow, that must be really nice, right? Because that's the appropriate association. If you see a leather couch, and it's really expensive, you go, man, that leather must be genuine and very well done and hand stitched or whatever. Yeah. And when we see the opposite, like when you walk into, I don't know, somewhere where it's really cheap, you assume the opposite about the quality of the product. So when you drop your price, when you do a discount, it makes us start thinking or rethinking the quality of the product of what we're actually buying. And that's always a concern for brands, because even though, just like Black Friday, at the heart of Black Friday is about moving volume, it's like, yeah, you can do a sale and you'll see a bump of attention, of some sales, of some revenue even, but your profitability is going to suffer. And that's okay in the immediate, where you're going, okay, I'm sacrificing this margin for the volume. I'm moving product. That's all that matters, right? But in the long run, you could actually be harming your perception of not only your product and its quality, but also you as a brand.
It's like a short-term focus versus the long-term focus. You're focusing on the short-term game of unloading that product or selling that product for any profit, because if sales are slow, any sales are better than no sales, right? Because at least there's some profit. But you've got to look at the sacrifice and hit that your brand will take overall, especially brands that are like, I mean, there's a reason Apple has the stigma of being, super legit quality, all these other things. And you'll never find a Mac product on sale. And this is where I think brands need to think about things like this if you need to move product, if you're trying to encourage sales, don't cut the price, add more value to what they're paying for.
Which is part of the brilliance. And that's what I think Apple's always done ever since, even, back in the day when you buy an iPod and you get a little sticker with it. It was part of this little, like what Disney would say, Walt Disney would be like, it's a plus, right? You're plussing the offer, you're adding more value to it, you're sweetening the deal. And even now, if you just bought an Apple product, you would have got 3 months of Apple Music or the Apple Fitness or something like that with it, or Apple TV, and they're always adding more value. They're not. Right. Could you imagine getting an iPad for 25% off? How weird that would feel. That would just be like, and they do have the refurbished products and stuff like that.
But those are sold exclusive through Apple.
Exactly.
Okay, you go through
certified.
They are certified, they are legit, and they're used. So Apple has it's just like buying a car, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can buy them used, and that's actually a good way of getting some nice Apple products at a discount, is going there, because if they're certified, they're certified. But there's no price slashing, there's none of that.
Right. Yeah. And really the price cut is it's like a cheap drug. Like it's really like, okay, you get a little hit from on the revenue side, just like Black Friday, right? It's a little hit to move them usually from the negative to the positive, so they look good and they appease certain people.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, there was a Adweek article that came out regarding BYD versus Tesla. BYD is the Chinese EV that actually is outselling all of their EVs worldwide. Warren Buffett invested in them a long time ago as well. And he talks about this came out September 16th by Mark Ritson, and the title of the Adweek article is "When a Discount Becomes a Death Spiral." So just based off that title, this is pretty much this is what we're talking about. And he says BYD undercut Tesla on price. Now it's paying the cost in profits, brand equity, and investor trust. So those three things: profit, brand equity, and investor trust. Those are kind of important for a company. And so he talks about how BYD was able to really hit mass volume of moving these EVs, but now it's paying the price on quality of product. Customers aren't trusting, investors are starting to doubt. However, Tesla, on the other hand, has been more design focused, more brand focused, more overall perception, and keeping that path, and not so much focusing on dropping price. However, that's the bigger vision for it. So to that point in the article, Mark outlines it really well of just going, no, these discounted products, these moves to just move sheer volume thanks to discounting and undercutting the market, it's not a good game to play in the long run. And there's plenty of examples of that just within market as a whole, where you can look at other examples. But I think that's part of the bigger picture here, is going, okay, is this, like we talked about last week, of thinking like a brand, right? And putting on your brand glasses and keeping that bigger picture, going, how is this going to affect us in the long run? If we're putting this for sale and driving revenue, but actually sacrificing our margin and our brand at the same time, is that worth it? And I think that's a really hard argument to make unless you are Walmart, or unless you are TJ Maxx or something like that, where that is the game you're playing, is discounted prices and value.
Yeah. I think it's just, and it's one of those things, if it just not damage, but it alters the perception of the brand. It does. Like you said, death spiraling down, because it's making it worse every time they try to do that again. It just got me thinking of like the pizza brand Caesars. right?
Pizza.
Why? Because they always do 2 for 1. But it's 2 pizzas.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah. There's another. So Caesar's, it's pizza because it's always like a two pizzas for the price of one. You want 1 pepperoni, you're getting a pizza, you're getting 2 pepperoni.
You have to take it.
That's just the way it is. and so it's a good option if you're wanting to buy, like, you got a pizza party, you got a bunch of people coming over, and you're like, dude, I don't want to like spend buku bucks. Then you go to one of these where you're literally getting 2 for 1. I bring this up only because with Caesar's, listen to me. With Caesar's, it was engineered that way. That was part of the brand. They never was like, oh, well, we now are starting to. It's always been that way that I remember. Now maybe I'm wrong if we looked into the actually, but it just came to mind because it was like I was thinking of these like 2 for 1, and I'm like, yeah, but something like Caesar's, it's not like, oh, just this month they're doing a 2 for 1. They always do it.
Always.
That is, so if it's a constant sale, right? Well, then okay, that's part of their brand. And again, the only way you can expand is by going lower. You can't increase. You can't go higher because you set a low bar for the brand.
Yeah, it's like you think of nice brands, even mid-range brands where it's like, oh, they're always trying to better themselves, they're always trying to raise the bar. However, with a value brand, it's like you're literally playing a game of limbo where you and your competitors are lowering the bar little by little, seeing how low you can go in this game of limbo. And again, then put yourself in your customer's shoes where when they're purchasing from you, like Caesar's, you're not expecting great ingredients. You're not expecting great customer service. There's certain expectations that come with that. For them to, it's buy one get one or whatever, you get a whole. It's a really good deal. You're not expecting this to be a stellar experience. You're kind of going, okay, I'm sacrificing. Yeah, this probably isn't the best thing for me. This dough probably isn't gluten free or whatever it is. It's probably made from tar.
It's
but
probably low grade mozzarella. It's
not. It's totally different than whatever California Pizza Kitchen or something like that. Where it's a different experience, but that's kind of part of the framing. And with that said, is that it's also you're serving a specific audience who is price sensitive. So then, as a owner or a founder, you can't complain when you have to adjust pricing due to inflation or whatnot, and your audience is going to react accordingly because you're specifically serving someone who is price sensitive. And this came up actually with the Dollar Tree and Dollar General store when they had to start raising prices, and now they have stuff that goes up to like $5 because they're following Five Below because Five Below is killing it. I bought shares like maybe a year ago in Five Below, and they have just been slam dunking. But really, it's like the whole approach of going, okay, we're serving this certain audience who wants low prices, and then not being surprised by the fact that they're going to be price sensitive.
I think what spurred this is knowing and seeing brands that are not trying to be their proponent is not a 2 for 1. They're not a value brand. They are middle of the road or trying, or maybe they're a mid-range brand and they're striving to be a luxury brand, striving to get through that threshold. Now all of a sudden they can charge premium price for their product or service. And they work hard on this, and they're cultivating this and raising the price. You can't. And I guess that's what we're saying. You can drop the price overnight.
To Scott's point, it's like for you to raise the price, typically that does come on to either R&D. This goes back to really the focus of R&D and brand / marketing, of those being the two driving forces of a company, because R&D, research and development, is going to increase the quality and overall performance of our product or service, so that can help increase the pricing. Brand and marketing can do the same thing because brand and marketing is more like in the magical realm where it can increase that ability to raise the price. A business, however, most likely won't be able to do that on its own because it's constrained by the market. And there's a famous ad man named David Ogilvy who started Ogilvy International, which is a huge ad agency. And a famous quote of his, "Any idiot can lower a price." And and even that statement, yes, it's very crass, but it's also very true, is that you think about it, yes, anyone can just change the price. However, to raise a price, that takes a different set of tools and ability and situation.
Smarts.
Yeah, where you can actually pull that off. And I think that's something to be very wary of when you are a founder of a business or leading the marketing. It's like, no, lowering the price that should almost be the thing you're trying to evade. is almost change the conversation. If someone's wanting to lower the price, we need to move more product, let's lower the price, then how about you change the conversation, reframe it and go, well, let's move more product, but how do we add more value, right? Start thinking like these brands that are moving that way.
Yeah. And I think that's where you're going to find, I mean, either way, trying to move more product, whether it's through a sale or whether it's trying to add value, there's a cost, right? Because like if you have a weekend Memorial Day sale and you're slashing prices right and left, well, the cost is going to be the loss of profit you could have had if you'd sold at regular price, right?
Yeah.
But then if you invest in some way to have added value to what they get, right? You invest some money in something small and that could be something that is bundled or added to your price, but keep the price the same. There's a cost to that too. And I think what we're saying is that in the long run for your brand, it's better off to keep the even price and find ways to bring added value.
So I guess to wrap things up, as we're heading towards our end of the time, really I would highly consider or highly recommend, like, when you do think about discounting, don't rely on a crutch, because it is also something that your competition can copy. You lower your price, they'll lower their price. Or, you look at some studies that sometimes when you do raise the price, that can actually increase overall appeal and raise like the volume of people actually purchasing. So it's like you can't just apply a broad stroke of, okay, if we lower the price, this is going to solve all of our problems. Because most of the time it will actually just create more problems for you.
Yeah, for sure. So I think on that note, we are going to wrap it up for this week and talking about discounting and the upcoming, months ahead of Black Friday months. I guess the season of shopping we're getting into. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for spread the word, spread the love. Let people know about the show. Again, we don't get anything out of it. We just enjoy being able to share what we know because we want to build a better world in the world of brand. And thanks for tuning in. Until next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.